I've been working on Killzone for about 8 years now. It's been a long time. I was part of the original development team that was working on the game before it was even known as Killzone. And it was at this point that we decided to record a piece of music as a test to kind of capture the feeling of the game. And we did this in Moscow, and this is where the Helder's March was born. So inspired Sony that they decided to greenlight an orchestral score for the whole game once it was reaching completion. After Killzone 1, I was asked to return on Killzone Liberation for the PlayStation Portable. And the music for that ended up being done with MIDI because it was much more dynamic and much more percussive. And it was something that the PSP lent itself well for. I thought it would be a good idea to combine the styles for Killzone 2. Percussive and dynamic music used in Killzone Liberation lent itself well to the in-game music.
Yeah, for now, it's a fucking A-cat! We're like sitting dumpsters!
Whereas the dramatic and epic live orchestral music used in Killzone 1 would work really well for the cutscenes in Killzone 2.
Because we were taking a different approach with the music, making it adaptive / interactive, Joey was experimenting in a way of composing more dynamics within the loops and still keep a cinematic feel to it without it sounding too electronic. He created the main theme of Killzone and made it sound so catchy and had that hook, and it's so emotional that you immediately recognize and you say, okay, that's the Killzone universe. That's the birth of war.
To be a day of mourning for the ISA.
The enemy convoy has been decimated.
Killzone is one of our big AAA titles. Just having the chance to do orchestral recording was it was a no-brainer really. We needed to do it. The Abbey Road was a perfect choice for a big orchestra and a big sound that we wanted for this epic game.
Madness.
Late last year I was asked if I wanted to record the score for Killzone 2 at Abbey Road. Let me introduce you to the team that helped make it all happen. First off, we've got Mark Cannon. He produced the session. His main role was focused to make sure we got everything recorded on time and that all the takes were recorded the way they needed to be. Here's Jonathan Williams. Johnny was my score copyist. He not only prepared the orchestra's paper scores in no time at all, but was also my conductor on the sessions. This is Rich Aitken, our balance engineer. He was there making sure that the music sounded just right, so his mixes of the sessions would translate to the amazing sound that we heard at the recordings. From the Abbey Road crew, there's Andrew Dubman. He's a senior recording engineer and essentially the studio is his. He makes certain that the microphones that capture that legendary Abbey Road sound are set up just to his liking. And Tom and Rob too, who were fabulous in assisting myself and Johnny. When I compose, I don't tend to compose in the traditional sense because I don't use pen and paper, but use things like MIDI and samples and sequences. Once the cutscenes have been scripted by the team in Guerrilla, they are storyboarded. This is kind of where I get involved. I get original storyboards, and that's the point where I start sketching some stuff out, just on the piano, but just to kind of get an idea of some melodies and some themes. For composing and editing, I use an audio and MIDI package called Nuendo. Right now you're listening to the initial piano sketch for the intro, Birth of War, Retribution. Once the storyboards have been approved, they're turned into an animatic, and that's where it gets its timing and its pacing. And that's when I start turning the piano sketch into more of a MIDI mock-up and start including some other instruments. My MIDI session has all the instruments from the orchestra and their samples, so I can get a rough idea of what it will sound like and work out the orchestration. With around 180 MIDI tracks in there, the the layout is similar to an orchestral paper score. All of these tracks together sound close to how a live orchestra would play it. And this is the finished mock-up. Once the MIDI mock-up is completed, we need a paper score for the musicians to play from. So I use a package called Sibelius to notate the score and print it out. The master score, or conductor score, contains all the instruments, so both the conductor and myself can see what each musician is playing at any time. The musicians don't see this score, they see the parts they need to play. This is why we need a conductor. He ties it all together, ensuring that everyone is playing the right thing at the right time and in the right place. For someone to say, would you like to go and record in Abbey Road, is like winning a lottery ticket.
I could tell from our initial dialogue that he was really excited about the prospect. When you're recording such involved music, it's always a pleasure to be in a studio as good as Abbey Road, with players as good as the ones we use at the NSO, and with the team and staff at the studio who just make these big, bold soundtracks come to life. And you couldn't choose a better place to record a score with as much integrity that Joris has put into it than this studio.
You suddenly realise how much musicians and good musicians can add to your music, and really kind of elevate it to a level that you wouldn't be able to elevate it to yourself. Really taking cues that are good cues, but doing something with them, playing them in such a way that they really drive the emotion to a next level, which is really what it's all about.
Papa, can you see if there's no place at the moment?
You could see today in the room with the players, they were feeding off it, and they were very, very excited to be performing this music, because it was great music.
It's been an action-packed day.
Needless to say.
Yeah.
It's a really good play.
I'm Jolie, I play the cello.
Hi, I'm Stacey, I'm the fixer contractor and the principal bass.
And I'm Kate, and I'm the principal viola today.
One bar, Letter B, cellos, basses, mezzo forte.
Even if people don't really even perceive the music, you definitely are feeling it. And I think you sort of empathise with the characters and their plight and everything much more if it's a live sound than if it's a MIDI sound.
Absolutely, and with depth to it.
Okay.
Very often in the sessions, you become so preoccupied with getting it with the click, which of course is ultimately important on something like this, but the music stops happening because they're so
living,
worried and it stops living. And today it wasn't, it was still exciting and everybody was giving it. The more difficult it is, the more people are up for the challenge, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And I'm really proud
And
of
it's
that.
well written. It was well written for the instruments, certainly for the cello.
And
really
the
good
bass.
cello.
Yes, and the viola, it all sat there. Sometimes you think it just doesn't work somehow, and it really worked very well.
It's often, as a cello, you're playing just low bass lines. So here you had some low bass line, we had some really good funky rhythms, and we had some great tunes.
think the route we've taken with regards to stemming the players, recording strings on one day, brass and woodwind and choir on another day, gives us a lot of control in the mix, but it also means that we're going to have a challenge to sync everything up, because there's some very fast passages where timing is crucial, and it only takes one player to be slightly off and having a bad day to sacrifice a take, and we have to start again. It definitely presents an extra problem, but it's I think when you hear the final mixes, it'll be really worth it.
Work in a really small space on your own for the most part, and to suddenly come into Abbey Road and with live musicians and amazing acoustics is it's incredible. It's been quite even I would say emotional at certain points of the day, where you're hearing your cue being played and hearing something in the cue that you hadn't realized that was there before, and a sort of an emotional backbone.
We were pumped up today.
Yeah. Absolutely, but by the end.
I'm chuffed, actually.
The players at the end of the day come back and say, I'm knackered, but it was such a rewarding day for them, because they're energised by the music, and that's something. That's testament to Joe and his writing. It's really good. He's impressed everybody, I think.
It's almost sometimes when you're doing it that it's not quite real until you actually get into the studio and you suddenly realise people are going to play this live, because you've been living with, MIDI music and samples for a long time. And to suddenly hear it come alive with a real orchestra is, it's absolutely amazing. Early today, and suddenly the music takes on a whole new dimension, and then the choir on top of that really just takes it to a whole different levels. The thing I was really interested in was using a cimbasso player, and the cimbasso is a really quite freaky looking instrument. It's not really used that much in kind of European music, and it's kind of a mix between a tuba and a bass trombone. Murphy, the trumpet player, he's got a lot of history with Abbey Road and film scores in general, and just to have someone like that on your session is incredible. So I made sure that there were a few nice solo trumpet parts that he could kind of shine on, and that he did.
I'm Joris Murphy. I was a principal trumpeter with the LSO until last year. Now I've started a new career freelancing.
I'm Stephen Moore. I've been playing the contrabasso.
Business, you're either bored to death or scared to death. But I prefer to be scared to death.
The music was worth playing. It was very satisfying And you could tell whether you got it right or wrong, and it mattered. So, but it was appreciated when you did get it right.
Exactly, yes.
Absolutely.
When you record in a place like this with these kind of level of musicians, you end up saying incredible and fantastic and great a lot, but it's true. We literally just finished like 1 minute short of session time to get all the choir singing in, because we took quite a long time to get the first part recorded. I think we took about 20 minutes for just one piece, where we only had an hour to record. I think we had about 8 or 9 pieces with choir. A 30 piece, which is 10 people less than I'd used on the original Helgast piece, but yet they sound much bigger and much more impressive. Again, helped by the incredible acoustics here at Abbey Road, and also really good direction by Johnny. You know, Johnny's someone that you can tell has got a lot of experience with the choir and knows how to get the best out of them. And you could see that he was jumping around on stage when he was conducting them, so you could really see that he was really enjoying, you know, the performance that he was getting, and that kind of makes him more excited.
It's been a tremendous couple of days. I fully respect for Joris's work. The music has been tremendous. I've had nothing but positive feedback from all the performers and singers, some of whom are seasoned professionals who have been working for years on this kind of music in this very place. It's been more challenging than usual. We've managed to employ a much bigger orchestra than usual, so it's added a lot of complexity to the scoring, and I don't think we've come across a score so intricate and refined and complex as Joris is before.
The biggest challenge has been the short time frame with regards to preparing for the session. We had a very short run on taking Joe's work and preparing it for today.
What's remarkable about Joe's music is that even though it's written so quickly, there's not a wasted note. Every note means something, is considered and instinctive and has an effect. He's really in touch with the drama.
I've done 3 orchestral recordings in my career so far, so this is my 4th one. But you know, I don't think I was able to elicit the same kind of performance that we've been able to get here in this room. This is really the ultimate in terms of musicianship. You know, I can't really imagine how it could have gone any better than it's gone, really.
Cheers. Hope you enjoy the music. Thank you.
After the recording at Abbey Road, there was still the percussion to be done, and we decided that it was better to do the percussion with MIDI here in the studio. Once I recorded the percussion tracks, I passed these on to Rich Aitken, who's the balance engineer at Abbey Road Studios. He took my parts and then the parts that we recorded at Abbey Road to make the final mix for the music tracks. We then gave those musical tracks to Mario Levin, who's the lead sound designer at Guerrilla Games. He mixed it together with the sound effects that he'd done and the voice actors that were recorded. It's all kind of put it together in one big track. And that's the final piece that you hear in the game.
Excellent briefing room 4.
Come on, Seb, let's go.
How are the men holding up?
Yeah, they're ready. Just want to be let off their leash.
Okay, people, let's get this shit done. It's their planet this time. Keep your shit wide tight. Hands down! Azari store inside the hour.
Invaders sighted! I want this day to be a day of mourning for the ISA.
I'm not leaving without